Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boldly Go, Drinking, a product of the Wednesday Night Gentleman. This is a show dedicated to talking about and reviewing the latest Star Trek episodes as they come out. Today we'll be talking about The End is the Beginning, Season 1, Episode 3 of Picard. As warning, this show is full of spoilers, so consider yourself warned. I'm your host, Tactic Angel. With me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Hello, Midget Radio. How are you today?
Doing well, Tactic Angel. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
I'm really excited.
No, you're always excited for these shows.
I'm always excited. These are fun. And the reason why they're fun is because, as the title might imply, we're talking about Star Trek, and we're doing it while sauced. Midget Radio.
Yeah.
What do you got, buddy?
I still have the Suntory.
Still have. Don't pretend like we just recorded something
Oh, yeah,
else.
that's right. Yeah, no, I'm fresh with the Suntory.
The Suntory. Yeah, well, I am still drinking the Penderton 1910 rye whiskey.
Oh, okay.
I've never drank this before on the air.
No.
I will tell you why I bought
Penderton.
Because it has a fancy bottle. It was on sale, and I like Canadian whiskeys. This is pretty.
Really?
You might actually really like it because it's rough like the Bullet Rye.
Ooh, okay.
You might enjoy it quite.
Okay, yeah, I like a little bite.
It's got the bite.
Nice. All right. Penderton.
Take a little sip of that while I sat that down, and we're gonna just jump right into it. Midget Radio.
Yeah.
How do you like this episode?
I mean, I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. That's it.
That's good. Do you want to know my opinion?
Yeah.
It was fine.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
That's it.
Wait. We have stuff to do. I have to run down the plot synopsis.
Yes, you do.
We have to talk about stuff.
I do have a mildly critical thing to actually say about an episode of Picard, which I feel like I haven't said much. That's been typically W&G negative. Yeah, I've been having to fight you. Like you've been the source of negativity, and I've had to fend that off. I feel like that's my job.
I feel like I trend closer to 50% than you do, kind of in a lot of things.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, I know is that you're an asshole and I'm not, and that's been the dynamic.
My peaks and valleys are not as sharp as yours, usually, because you're a neurotic asshole.
Okay, what were we talking about again?
Star Trek Picard. Here we go. Show starts out with 2 flashbacks. Midget Radio, tell me the truth here. Do you consider this a stunning lack of a Smashing Pumpkins song playing us into this episode? Is it an opportunity missed?
I mean, sure. Yeah. Sure. I don't remember the flashbacks very clearly. Oh, wait. Yeah, we get Rafi. This is where we get Rafi.
No,
Rafi
first we get a battle
right?
scene, then we get Rafi.
Yeah, okay.
But, like, it's the end is the beginning, and you're like, isn't that a Smashing Pumpkins song?
Is it?
I think it is. I think it was the one
be.
from the Batman thing.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah,
and it makes sense, actually. If it's, like, I think it was from, like, God, was it from Batman and Robin? That was a shit movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But, if you think about it, a virtuous man who's lost his family in a tragedy puts his life on the line to help a corrupt society in spite of itself through vigilante means.
Yeah.
Join us every Thursday for Star Trek Picard. Like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If Jean-Luc Picard was... Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Jean-Luc Picard
is Batman.
Probably.
Okay.
So anyway, we see Mars getting blown up again.
Yes.
It has to be pretty significant because it looks like it really got fucking bombed.
I'm so confused as to what the state of Mars is right now. I guess there's that fucking Short Trek episode, and maybe if I just watched that, it would solve those problems, but it's just like, there is still a Mars, right?
That's just bad writing if you're relying on... You have to read the novel to understand.
Well, this is an extended universe tactic. I mean, this is the fucking world we live in now.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not doing homework to watch a goddamn television show.
All right.
right?
The WNG is old, if the listener cannot tell. It is old.
Yes, we have done our homework. We're done. Fuck this. Who knows what's wrong with Mars? We'll figure it out later when we actually watch those.
I guess. Yeah. Fuck.
So in the aftermath, we see Picard is talking to Raffi about the Federation's offer of a fleet of decommissioned ships to evacuate Romulus. Picard rejected this idea as not sufficiently virtuous and ante-up his resignation because he thought there was no way in hell that Starfleet would take up that offer.
I was confused on this. I thought they were pulling back from that. Like that was an idea proffered and rejected. Like,
okay, so the key question actually of, I assume, the rest of the season is, and Picard asks this almost verbatim, right? He asks, why would the Romulans attack a fleet of ships being built expressly for the purpose of helping them?
Yeah.
And that's...
Right, so that's what's going on Utopia Planitia, and then they blow it up.
If they can't answer that question, that is epic fail for story.
I mean, I can't imagine that they wouldn't.
They
addressed it. Like...
No, okay, but we have a list of questions. We'll see how many of them are answered.
Sure.
So, like, that is a pretty important question because it's kind of informing us about the whole plot, because we have the Romulans who are doing shit, and it's like, I'm not really sure what's going on, but they don't like robots, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And then we have the Romulans being evacuated by Starfleet, apparently, and then Starfleet saying, because actually I was thinking about you when they were going through this scene, because essentially, okay, if Starfleet thinks it has a major internal security problem, I get why they would be like, we can't do active duty ships, right?
Sure.
And that's actually something that Admiral Kristen, whatever her name was, from last episode implied, which was we did not have enough ships.
Yeah,
she was whatever.
I thought she was great.
C+ or
I think she expressed a completely legitimate point of view in a forceful and intimidating manner, which I always respect.
But when he was like, I offered my resignation and I could never believe that they would take it, I was like, that's sheer fucking hubris, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So actually one of the interesting things I got out of this was like, what if Picard's the asshole?
Yeah, I think there is like I think that there is a little bit of that in this series, and I really like it. I really like it because it makes sense and it humanizes Picard, which is something I think as Trek fans sometimes we don't want to do.
I would be real. Well, I mean, like season 1 and 2, and in particular, and then sometimes later than that, Picard is often an asshole. Like
but he's also but for at least from the fan perspective, he tends to be worshipped.
He does,
and I like this sort that there are some defects of character that are not wholly out of left field. That maybe they're playing up a little bit in this series.
Yeah, and I think that's good, and I'd be interested in seeing them actually explore that and the character learning from it, right?
Well, yeah, and I think we've had a little bit of that. I think in the last episode we had him recognize the fact that, like, even in his interaction with it was the Admiral, right? Yeah, she's an Admiral.
She's
right?
a CNC.
Yeah. So in that interaction, he said, I shouldn't have done that interview. I shouldn't have done that. Like, he recognized the fact that he had a moment of weakness on television when he kind of went off the handle there. And that's an element of self-awareness that I think is really great. I mean, can you imagine that being on Discovery? Can you imagine Michael Burnham ever fucking apologizing for ever regretting? Like,
I think first Michael Burnham would have to do something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah, that is true. So yeah, I like that there's a little bit of self-awareness there. It's enough to keep me engaged anyway.
So no, I mean, like that's fine. Whatever. That moment is embarrassing for him, and he's already been given several opportunities to apologize for it by the time you even see him talk to her. So like, right, his friend from the Stargazer comes there, and it's like, you made an ass out of yourself on national television.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if my friends are telling me I made an ass out of myself on national television, then maybe I should just be like, this is a bad idea. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like, that's not really a big deal to say, I made an ass out of myself. I'm sorry.
No, it's not huge. No.
Throwing away your career in Starfleet and running away to France to tend to grapes is pretty big. And being able to like look back and realize, there are mistakes that I've made that are maybe not just like I said the wrong thing, but actually like foundational. That's important, and it would be a good thing for us to see Picard rationalize himself through.
I think I understand where you're coming from, and I totally agree. And I think like what's kind of interesting about this is it's sort of a little bit where the rubber meets the road, because as far as his idealism is concerned, and I sort of like, if this show like would explore that to some degree, I think it would be fascinating, because if Picard decides to adopt this wholly idealistic position, right? We need to rescue the Romulans, whatever, and that's all we need to do. And any concerns, any movement against that is wrong, and I'll throw away my career. If I'm not allowed to pursue this mission. There's a part of me that's like, this is where like, I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but it's like where the idealism and the pragmatism meet, and this character has to choose one or the other.
Okay, so Picard is so right and so virtuous that he knows the absolute right answer. Yeah. And he's like, you need to do what I say, and I'm going to put like a bet on the table that you won't take, and I lost. Yeah. And that's what we saw. Yeah. And really, if Picard were to step back, he'd have like the opportunity to think, the Federation's a pretty large place. There are a lot of humanitarians in the Federation. Yes. And I'm fairly certain that the Vulcans by themselves would be very interested in helping the Romulans. Yeah, given kind of the political thing we saw in the tail end of TNG. Yeah. Given the fact that they had dropped the embargo against the Romulans. Yeah. And all this other stuff. Like, he could realize there was another way. And, yes. And that, like, you don't have to have the perfect answer. Sometimes a good answer is good enough. Yeah. Right? Yeah, totally. Totally. And that kind of sums up like half of our politics today, because it's like, it does. It does. I mean, it definitely does. And I like seeing this through kind of the character of Picard. Cause like, I mean, I don't know where you're at on this, but I don't see Starfleet at this point as some like xenophobic fucking nightmare. I don't feel like the show is portraying Starfleet that way, or the Federation that way. Well, they did say that Starfleet gave in to intolerance and fear. They say that those are things that are said by characters in the show. But that was specifically like because they wanted to get rid of the A500 robots. Right. And I don't know about you, but acting under the assumption that the A500 robots murdered everyone because of some fatal operating system error. Right. I mean, literally a fatal operating system error. I did not mean that, but yes. I mean, you understand why Starfleet's like, hey, exactly. You have a potential, like, somebody throws a number into like the garbage bin, and then somebody starts T-1000ing everybody, and right, like, not cool. Yeah, like, I understand why Starfleet wouldn't want a bunch of murderous robots. Fuck it, shut it down. Yeah. Oh, it's a humanitarian mission, and I know our robots murdered everyone. Yeah, and then blew up the ship. Yeah, and then committed suicide.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of weird, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wonder about that error. That's quite an error.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oops, I'll shoot myself in the head.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I see. I feel like it's pretty fair. Honestly, I feel like it's fair. I feel like everything is being represented anyway. Like this hasn't been one note to me where it's like the Federation is the bad guy and Picard is the good guy. I do not sense that at all. In these first 3 episodes, and I get like I honestly feel like part of the issue is just sort of the way just what the political climate is right now for us in 2020. That we kind of tend to see things in a black and white manner, and that's because of fucking Twitter and the media and all that shit. But I don't feel like anything that this show has done inherently has actually played into that. I think that the things that the Federation has done make sense to me. Picard's attitude toward the things that the Federation has done also makes sense to me. And they are quite conflicted. And that just feels, I mean, for the most part anyway, that feels pretty honest. So far, 3 episodes in.
Didn't I do a fantastic job listening to you bring the meta into this?
You did, yeah.
I just want you to remember that.
I appreciate that.
For the future.
Okay.
Because I think that we've run into this the other way around, and like, whatever. We'll see what happens. Because I mean, we all want to believe that Patrick Stewart's not dumb enough to like try to bring in modern politics to Star Trek. I mean,
I mean, again, that's a double-edged sword, right?
No, what I'm saying is like, okay, like when Star Trek Discovery started out, they're like, whatever, the mumbling Klingon, that's Trump. You're like,
right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not sure how, but okay.
I feel like what you mean to say is that Patrick Stewart isn't dumb enough to bring Twitter politics into Star Trek.
Fine. Yeah. Whatever.
I feel like that's a better description, but
but like we'll see. I don't want to get into the out of the show sort of stuff. And
okay.
We're already 20 minutes into this.
I know. Well, it's Star Trek. What are you gonna do?
Let's gotta talk about everything.
Yeah.
So we watched the Picard opening, and it's Raffi and Picard again. It sounds like they don't really get along all that well. Though clearly the rescue effort happened, I guess.
Yeah,
that seemed to be why she stormed off in the last scene in anticipation of being fired for some reason.
Can we talk that? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I'm not 100% done. She lives in poverty, far from the luxury enjoyed by the rich elite like Picard. What can you say? She's clearly an emotional basket case.
Yeah.
I will say, though, Michelle Hurd acts her tits off here.
That's Raffi?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Continue.
No, you continue. Because I think talking about Raffi, that's a subject I want to explore.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to do that now or if you want to get through the rest of...
Here we go. No, here we go.
Okay.
We're already fucking disaster. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. Thus far, I hate this character.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually hope if you've got a counter to that, I'm really excited. So the scene where the flashback scene, right? Okay, so Picard, they're sitting on a bench, I guess, in I'm assuming San Francisco is where they're at.
I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Picard tells her, whatever, I put up a fight, I offered my resignation, and I fucking lost. Okay. And then she gets called in, and she is under the impression that she's about to get fired. I guess because she was Picard's ally in this let's rescue the Romulans fucking mission.
I don't even know. I don't know. But
so that was my understanding. She's going to
get fired somehow.
Yeah, and she seems to blame Picard in that scene for that. And immediately I was like, what the fuck? You're on some stupid idealistic fucking drive to save the Romulans, which is something Starfleet doesn't want to do. And it's Picard's fault now that you've aligned yourself with him. And that because of that has gotten you fired. Like, I didn't understand that. And that was immediately like, I don't think I really like this character. And then the entire scene between her and him at her little, what looks to me like a pretty nice place. She has a shitload of land in the middle of I don't know who doesn't want that, but, and she's clearly she's clearly quite emotional. I think fairly overly emotional. I don't really understand where a lot of it is coming from. Except for the fact that she lost her position in Starfleet, which fine. Okay. That's a big deal and fine. You know, maybe she's affected by that very deeply and she's pissed off and is resentful of Picard for that, for whatever reason. And for some reason also is resentful that he didn't contact her in the meantime, even though it's why would you want to contact her? She seems to blame you for everything that's fucking wrong with her life. So,
so that's why I said she's a basket case, essentially. Yeah. Because it's she's saying lots of things that are contradictory.
They are. Yeah.
She clearly has some sort of beef with Picard that I do not understand at this point.
Yeah.
And, she's out there in honestly a pretty decent place. I don't think everybody wants to live the No Man's Sky lifestyle that you do.
But I mean, if she can sit around and just get high all day, I mean, what the fuck?
On a conceptual level, I have a hard time believing that this person's psychological profile would pass for Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think
that is questionable. Yeah.
That a Starfleet person would be like, oh, God damn it, I'm just going to go over here and
smoke plants.
I'm going to smoke specifically a hallucinogen that causes paranoia.
Yeah.
You're like, that seems like a good idea.
Awesome.
So, I mean, I don't get why she doesn't like Picard, and I don't get why she wants Picard to call her.
Yeah.
Even though she clearly resents him. And honestly, this was actually one of the fact that he doesn't call her actually made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And it's not because of her. It goes back to Picard, because Picard was so distant with all of the people he worked with before.
True.
That it, conceptually, it's actually kind of hard to imagine, him being all that upset when that Data's dead, because he wasn't upset when Data died before.
Yeah.
As far as he was concerned.
Yeah.
But maybe it's that Data died for him. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that kind of changed the way he worked.
Maybe.
At least as far as Data was concerned. But nobody else.
Yeah.
Rafi was still just a person who did her job for him.
That's actually sort of insightful as far as Picard's character. I'm just thinking about it as from the perspective that, what if Picard himself is and I'm not saying he is this, but what if he has some kind of a little bit of narcissistic tendencies? And maybe that's why he's kind of distant with other people. And the fact that Data did sacrifice himself for Picard, that might be the thing, because that's when he realized that, holy shit, Data is really valuable. He viewed me the same way that I view myself. Right?
I mean,
potentially there an element of that. So I want to say,
if you go into the Myers-Briggs, which is based off of Jungian archetypes and all that nonsense, if you go into that, Picard is probably an ENTJ, which...
Really? You think he's an E?
Oh, so here's the thing. I actually ended up taking this and came out as an ENTJ as well.
You think you're Picard? This is just about how you think you're Picard.
No. Let's follow this through.
Okay.
So, ENTJ is usually called, if you wanted to characterize it, the executive or the general or whatever.
Yeah.
And essentially, you are okay talking about anything that you believe, except for your feelings.
Yeah.
And it's extremely insightful if you look at Picard, because he is always incredibly distant from his crew. Even when when there was that transporter accident and he became a 16-year-old kid or whatever.
Yeah.
he wasn't emotional about it. What he said is essentially, I have to waste all this time until I grow up again.
Yeah.
And the reason why I have to do that is not specifically because I'm incapable of leading people, but because people will see me as incapable of leading. And it's like, he wasn't woe is me or God, what a horrible thing for me.
Yeah.
He just is like, these are the facts, and this is what I have to do. And I understand when I look at a character like Picard, who is that kind of leader, maybe he does have that distance because he can't talk about his feelings, and I relate to that strongly.
Sure, yeah.
Like, it makes sense to me looking at Picard keeping all of his staff at arm's length.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And so like this was kind of a return to form in this particular scene, even though it is a character weakness. And as a person who has this problem, I understand this very well. It's interesting to see, and it's consistent with the old Picard that we all know and love, sometimes a little too much.
Yeah. It's certainly not out of character.
But, I mean, you could also say, this bitch is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to call her because holy fuck.
Holy fuck. I don't want to have anything to do with her.
I can't follow this conversation. She's like really mad at him because he has heirlooms, even though he doesn't have any heirlooms because Star Trek Picard apparently forgot about Star Trek Generations when the whole vineyard burnt down. Whatever.
Yeah. You rebuild it. It's fine. It's 20 years.
And that's actually the only time I think that I can remember, other than there are 4 lights or whatever, that Picard basically broke down. And it was because his grandchildren or grandniece or second cousins or whatever burn alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was no Picard legacy.
Yeah.
And he was like, fuck, I should have gotten it on with Vash. Damn it.
Right? God, I would have.
For sure.
But
yeah. So she's a crazy person. I thought it was funny that she started crying specifically because she lost her security clearance.
I know. Honestly, the only thing I could chalk it up to was the drugs. The drugs. Must be the drugs. Maybe the drugs. That's what explains all of this fucking wild irrationality. Thank God she's not the protagonist.
Yeah.
But like the other Star Trek show.
Well, I think you're going to have to see plenty more of her.
I know. I think so too. I'm a little concerned because I don't know. I'm not a fan so far. I feel like you're actually a little bit more okay with her as a character than I am. At this point.
Sounds like it, because I don't actually really dislike her.
I do.
I think she's probably bipolar or schizoactive, something like that. I mean, I guess we'll just see where it's going. She was a little bit...
Sure.
Like, the part that worries me is, like, she was still a little bit too overwrought in the first scene.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the actress who's playing her, who I will say is acting her tits off, is maybe just too much of a ham in general.
So that's fucking fascinating to me. Because, I mean, I've at least seen other criticisms on the goddamn internet of her performance, suggesting that she is overacting, that she's a bad actress because of all the fucking overacting and stuff. And I mean, this is one goddamn episode, so, I'm trying to reserve judgment here. And I do feel like if she's fucking smoking plants all day, it makes sense for her to be a little
crazy,
psychotic. Yeah. That's fair enough. So maybe that's part of it, but
I mean, I'm willing to see where this goes. And
yeah, sure.
And I hadn't seen any of that. I guess we circled different parts of the internet.
Yeah.
But
Reddit, that's what I was looking at mostly, but yeah.
Ooh, Reddit. Yeah. That's the lowest of the low.
I mean, it is, but I don't know what the highest of the high is. Probably the Wednesday Night Gentleman multimedia.
Probably. You are looking at the gold medal. Anyway, back on the Borg cube. Hugh is in charge of a whole operation.
Hugh! Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
I forgot how to read now. They've given Dodge 2 an EPR, and she routinely meets or exceeds expectations.
Sure.
In addition to her increase in pay, they're going to let her talk to Rhonda the Romulan.
Yeah.
Which I think is apparently she was able to learn a key bit of information about Rhonda just by asking some top secret info on her. Her goal here is some sort of shared mythological framework based therapy, which I am pretty sure is just an excuse to have a fight scene with Rhonda. She starts screaming at Dodge, the destroyer, according to the news.
Yeah.
And she's the end of everything.
Whatever. Yeah.
I feel like this is probably the scene that you were least high on. That was what I was getting when I saw it.
I was I honestly I don't really know what to make of it because it's really interesting to me in a certain way, but it's also like where the fuck is any of this coming from? I love the shared mythology. I love that. I
I feel like that was definitely a half-baked idea.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Yeah.
My problem with this, first of all, I don't like she's the destroyer, she's the end of everything.
I know. I don't know what that means.
But I guess like thinking about Hugh, like he seems to be playing the patsy of the Romulans, and I kind of feel like I don't like that. So,
yeah, I guess maybe I want to compartmentalize this a little bit and first talk about Hugh.
Okay.
Go. So I'm at one point I'm on one side kind of interested in that Hugh is treated as like he's almost a bit player. It's almost like who gives a fuck where Hugh comes from in this episode. He doesn't like it's just weird. Why is he there? What is he fucking doing? Nothing about his history is remotely acknowledged in this episode.
I think...
Which is fascinating and annoying to me at the same time.
Well, I mean, it just kind of feels like they're like, let's take this character, insert him in.
Yeah.
And who cares whether or not it fits?
Exactly. He could have been anybody in this episode. He could have been Sam the fucking former Borg in this episode. You know, who the fuck knows who he is? Like... There's a part of me that's like irritated and fascinated by that decision at the same time. Cause I don't know what to make of his involvement in any of this. Cause we know who he is. Like as Star Trek fans anyway, we know who he is.
Yeah.
And we can surmise why he might be interested in a project like this, which appears to be reclaiming former Borg.
But he also says like most of the people who are interested in the former Borg are looking to exploit us or something else, and the Romulans are clearly doing both.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Like,
but okay, if they leave it there, it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not exactly. Hugh deserves. Yeah, I think it's fair to say Hugh deserves more than he got at least in this one episode of Picard. Yeah.
And so like that's a thing that, you know, I've added to the list of stuff that hopefully they can give us at least some resolution on, because I don't want it. Okay, first time we see Hugh is in what, like I, Borg or something like that?
Yeah, I think that's the first one. Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to assimilate Geordi. Geordi's my friend.
Geordi's my friend.
And like, I fucking love that.
Yeah, it's a good, oh God. It's such a good episode, and it's such a good Guinan episode.
It's a strangely good Guinan episode. It's a lot better than when she's talking to Mark Twain.
Yeah. Well, God Christ, yeah.
But then, like, later we see, like, Hugh's on a planet fighting against other Borg.
Yeah.
And, like, Lore is there, and it's like...
Lore, yeah.
But, like, at that point, Hugh is a completely different character. He's, like, resentful. He's like, I thought I was a slave, and, like, slavery's bad and all that shit. But, like, being a person is hard.
It is hard.
Nobody told me that being a person was hard.
Fucking lonely. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah.
And so, like, he was a completely different character, but by the end of that, you got a sense of resolution there as well.
Yeah.
And, like, if they start this again, it's like, why is Hugh okay being a patsy?
Yeah.
And they don't finish it. It should have just been Sam the Borg. Because then I wouldn't be pissed off about this.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Fair.
Shared mythological framework. Rhonda.
I don't know what to make of any of that. Like, it's one of those things that's really interesting to me, but like in general. But like, I don't understand. I guess I don't understand what to really make of it. Yeah, I don't know. And it's like only Romulans, right, that are
having trouble with the assimilation.
The fucking disordered. Yeah. I don't really know. I don't know what to make of that at this point. I can't imagine that that's not going to be explored within this episode. But it's interesting to me, but then it's also sort of like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's all just, I think it's the sort of like the extreme drama of it that's just a little off-putting.
Yeah.
Right? She's the destroyer of everything. All of that. Like, it's just a little annoying. And it's annoying because we don't fucking understand where any of this is coming from. And it seems cheap. It seems cheap without knowing where any of this is coming from. Well, it's kind of
weird that like all of the people in there react so like negatively to her after that.
Yeah.
But, Picard's on his plantation. He's got, these servants, and they're just like, I don't know, it could be this. And you're like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah.
Everybody else seems to be, hip to the jive here. Why aren't you guys?
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know.
And it's just weird to try to figure out where is any of this. Like, they were assimilated Borg, but maybe like somehow failed in the assimilation attempt, which is a really interesting thing. Like that by itself.
I think they call it submatrix.
That's fucking fascinating. I love that idea, but like, yeah, it's just hard to make anything of it. It's hard to, at least in this episode, it's really hard to understand what to do.
Got
with
5 more of them.
Yeah,
they can fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have anything else to say about that scene.
Yeah.
Next scene is Commodore O comes to talk to Agnes Girardi.
Okay.
End of scene. What did you think?
So I was fine with that. I kind of like Commodore O. I think she's clearly a Romulan, right?
She's clearly a Romulan.
She's clearly a Romulan. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
A lot of people made like a big deal about she's wearing sunglasses.
I saw that too.
And you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
What I do care is that she's wearing her fucking uniform like she's fucking homeless. Like, straighten up those pits.
Fair enough.
In any case.
Yeah.
Picard boards a shuttle to meet Wolverine. Logan was formerly part of an elite military organization, but he's very secretive about his past. He tells Xavier to go get out of his head. In any case, his lines facilitate Patrick Stewart in saying something about how he doesn't care if what he's doing is illegal. He's doing it because it's right.
Sure, whatever. Yeah.
Rios then has a conversation with a third version of himself.
Yeah.
Or is it a second version? I'm not really even sure.
This is interesting. So he is the emergency navigational hologram.
But he was also the EMH, which made me think, are they different?
There were a few things about this that I was off on. Like, one, we have an ENH. Why isn't that just the computer? And then two, why does he look like him? Why?
Yeah.
Like, is that
I feel
if you go through the like set up your ENH, customize. Well, I want him to look like me. That's fucking weird, but like. Because I mean, especially given Voyager, right? We've seen the EMH, and then we've seen the exploitation, right, of EMH labor, and they all look like fucking
that guy.
Yeah, they look like the EMH, and it's like, well, okay, I don't know, I didn't know that there was any level of customization if you could pick how you wanted your EMH to look.
Well, this is 30 years in the future. You have like the full Bethesda.
That's true. That is true. That is true. Maybe Janeway was just stuck with the bald guy, and that's
default settings.
That's all you got. And then
then we had the Andy Dick one.
That's right.
I actually liked that episode.
I did too. But then maybe Starfleet got enough complaints and they were like, fine, fuck, Jesus, create your own. Fine.
I feel like my EMH is a pedophile.
Yeah. That seems like a bizarre decision. I want my thing to look like me, but whatever.
I could see some things, because he's got like that. I actually really do like his ship.
Yeah, I like his ship too. Yeah.
It reminds me of the warp skip from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Because it's got like the two big nacelles that go way out in front of it. Yeah. And then kind of like the cabin area. Yeah. It's just bigger. In any case, like if someone were to board that, you'd be like, EMH, yeah, what's up? It's like, I need you to pretend like you're crazy, wounded, and or dead. Yeah. Can you do that over here so that I can ambush my foes? Yeah. That sort of thing. But I mean, I get it from like a tactical point of view. Like the deception would be neat.
Yeah, true.
It's also possible he's just a narcissist.
I like that.
He's the most beautiful person in the world.
All these explanations are completely fair. Yeah.
In any case, I feel like he does have a different accent.
Yes.
Because he's like,
that's true.
They got me Lucky Charms.
That is true. That is true.
And then he
says,
may
throw some people out. Yeah.
Picard is on the side of the angels.
Yeah, that is true. That is kind of a bizarre choice. What the fuck? That is a bizarre choice. Yeah.
Well, there's like, yeah, I want it to look like me, but also,
but did I sound different? Because yeah. I mean, this is what I want to be able
to tell the difference.
I want to be Irish for some reason. But
also, this is probably the second moment of affirmation for Picard, which is a little bit annoying. I don't like affirmation. No more affirmation.
Keep going. Explain that. Oh, that he's like a fucking legend or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Okay. I mean, he is, but it makes sense, right? He is. He's a fucking legend.
Okay. I'm not saying he didn't earn it.
Sure.
What I am saying is, as a person who's watched the fucking show for my entire life,
sure,
you don't need to tell me that Picard is a legend.
Fair enough.
So back on the plantation, Picard tells his servants he will be missing them.
Yeah.
So they pack him a lunch for a trip to outer space. Luckily, Zhaban drops something which saves his life.
Yeah.
And both Lars and Zhaban prove to be pretty good in a fight.
Yeah.
One of the guys in the Romulan biker gang decks Picard, but he shows them up when he demonstrates his Second Amendment functional furniture design.
Fuck yeah.
And starts smoking fools with a concealed firearm.
Man, yeah.
They win, but no, they forget one just in time for Agnes Jurati to show up and murder a man.
Yeah. Straight up death wish, man. Straight up death wish. This is my coffee table fucking phaser.
I am not going to lie. I thought about death wish when I watched this.
How could you not? There's a phaser in all the furniture. Like
Picard is a very reserved individual. He's very thoughtful.
It's a Second Amendment wet dream. Like
and also he's paranoid as fuck. There are at least 2 hidden phasers each room.
That's great. You thought this was a pot of flowers, but instead, motherfucker,
it's a pot of phasers.
So I don't know what. Honestly, that scene felt a little like there's 2 issues with that scene.
Okay.
One, it's out of fucking nowhere. You're like, why in the first place? Why is there an attack on Picard's estate?
Because we have to have at least 2 action scenes per episode.
From whomever. We're assuming the Zot-Vash or whatever, right? Like, why? What was the mission at that point? And then 2, you have how many of these fucking people that attack this 70-something-year-old man and still can't pull the fucking job off? Like, there's 2 real issues, I think, with that scene, and that's it. Like, it's just, this is another attack by Romulans that they fucking fail they fail again to pull off. And then why does this happen at this particular moment? Yeah, it just seemed kind of unmotivated to me. And the only thing you get out of it is that doctor lady shows up.
So after this scene, though, they break out some wine. They talk about how she's going to go to space with him. And they interview one of these surviving Romulan thugs. And he basically, I think, admits to being Zat Vash. And then he's like remarkably forthcoming with some exposition before he spits some acid.
Yeah.
That doesn't manage to kill Zhaban, which I actually appreciate because I
do too.
Like actually both of those characters.
Yeah.
And then he melts into nothing. And that just seems like, okay, we had the opening battle scene, and now we're having another fight scene. It's like, we don't need this much action in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Where's my conference room table? Somebody talk to somebody about something. Let's meet back here in 15 minutes when that was wrong. But yeah, I mean, I think the guy is clearly Zat Vash.
I would think so.
Which, that kind of means that he was definitely sent by Commodore O. I don't know. She said she's going to take care of him personally. Yeah. She's like walking around asking questions.
It's not a great scene.
I don't know.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It feels a little ham-fisted to me, which is disappointing.
Ham-fisted seems fair, but it's not a complete abortion.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not that. It's just, God damn, just really unnecessary. And I feel like, I mean, honestly, the only damage to me that it does is that it's like, are we really supposed to be afraid of these fucking Romulans that can teleport into wherever? Because they seem to be dispatched fairly easily. Like, I mean, fuck.
I don't understand. Like, you. Yeah. All right. I mean, if you go back to the first episode, you're like, why wouldn't you show up and stun people rather than trying to use a bag and a knife?
Yeah, that makes sense.
In this case, they show up and they're like, just.
I mean, he's a 70-something-year-old man. If you wanted to kill him, how fucking hard is that to do? Like...
Right? Did they miscalculate the time zone?
Jesus.
It's like, wait until everybody's asleep.
Right? What the fuck? And and then it made it seem all the more sort of artificial because scientist lady shows up, Daystrom Institute lady shows up, and she's like, I don't know, they were fucking up your place, so I shot one of them. By the way, can I get on the ship with you? Why do we need any of this? Like, why can't she just come over and be like, can I be on the ship with you? I don't need this fight scene. Like,
there was a third moment of affirmation here.
Yeah.
Which is when she tells Picard that he is a good and decent man with a moral center who never does anything wrong.
Yeah.
So she wants to go to space with him.
Sure. That's true.
So they go to the shuttle, and Picard says engage, and the show ends.
Yes, engage. That's all. That's very exciting. Yeah. He said the thing that he said before.
Do you remember?
I remember. It's very exciting. Whatever.
I mean, this show, I was less annoyed by it because there's nothing as bad as the assertion that Starfleet has the moral authority to decide what civilizations live and die.
Yeah.
But, like, there's nothing really great here happening either. It's like,
no.
It's a functional episode, and hopefully it's just like kind of an intermediate sort of thing that takes us in other places.
Yeah.
And like, if we do see more of the Picard, his fallibility, and coming to realize that his sense of self-righteousness is not absolute as it appears to be, even if people are praising him all the time.
Sure.
And that would actually make the affirmations a little bit more stomachable if he comes to that conclusion that he is not, in fact, Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Even though everyone keeps telling him he is.
Yeah. Which would be...
Like, that would be...
Yeah.
That would be
absolutely.
Fun and wise.
And I think much more interesting because, like, it makes sense that other people would come to him with this sort of, like, this on bended knee, you know, at this worshipful sort of fucking attitude toward him, because of his legacy and all of that. And so, like, it makes sense for people to approach him like that, but for him to realize, I think, sort of his own fallibility, his own humanity, yeah, would make that, like you said, much more palatable.
And we didn't get a lot with Bruce Maddox in this one.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but I mean, it's a transitional episode. Maybe we'll get more of it next episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So usually at the end of these sorts of things, I ask a couple of questions and we run down the open answers.
Okay.
Or the open questions. Does Picard feel like Picard? I think I'll answer that first. I feel he feels a little bit more like Picard than he has before.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I still think he feels like Picard. My attitude hasn't changed toward that.
Okay. World building questions. We'll run down these real quick and answer what we can answer. What is the connection between Romulans and androids?
Still don't know. Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
Why are people trying to capture Dodge? And what is the Zhat Vash? And more specifically, why do they hate artificial intelligence and Romulans appear to be otherwise okay with androids and AI? That seems a little bit inconsistent in this episode, but
a little, yeah, I don't know, because they're certainly very interested in the Borg, but
what profound truth is so profound that knowing it would make you go mad? I think that's kind of the
that'll probably take till episode 10, but yeah.
What is Dodge? We clearly don't know that.
Yeah.
Who made up Dodge's background?
Still,
I kind of feel like how does she know Kung Fu is not all that important compared to the other things. What's up with Dodge's parents? We do actually see them.
We do. Yeah, we see Mom again. Yeah.
And she seems every bit as fake as ever.
Oh,
she basically tells some lies to her.
Yeah.
Galactic treaty with whom? Still don't know. Why did Starfleet want to abandon the Romulans to their deaths? I feel like we're moved a little closer, but I don't know that this is closed.
Yeah. It's certainly not entirely closed. Yeah, I think but I don't know. I honestly don't really have my interest in that question has definitely diminished.
I don't think that it's... Let me put it this way. It doesn't seem, after watching this episode, as appalling as it was last episode.
Fair enough.
And I don't think it's fully closed, but if, like, this isn't like a season fail.
Yeah.
Sort of question if they don't answer it for me.
Sure.
Allison Pill, tiny eyes or just an enormous face?
I think she's hot as fuck.
You always were one for those inbred types.
There you go.
I've added to this, why does Rafi hate Picard? Why did Romulans cause the submatrix collapse? What is up with Hugh, and why is Hugh playing patsy to the Romulans?
Yep, fair enough, yeah.
And why would Romulans blow up a fleet of ships being specifically built to save them?
Yep.
I don't think we got an answer to the Romulan Free State WTF that I wrote down here.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever. No answers to any of the questions we had before, but maybe a half an answer. We'll go with a half an answer.
Okay. Fair enough.
Anything else you want to add, Midget Radio?
No. God, I'm sure we're way over time at this point, but yeah.
It's hard to tell with all the stuff I'm going to have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, that has been the Wednesday Night Gentleman for the latest Star Trek Picard episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please feel free to give us a like or a subscribe. For now, it is time for us to boldly go. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.